But first, let's talk about education. One of my sons has just finished his Year 12 exams, and he assures me, though we've not seen results yet, that he did very, very well. We'll find out. That hasn't been the case for students in other parts of the country, however, and it hasn't been their fault. A series of technical errors and administrative stuff-ups have created mayhem for students. But before we look at some of that educational chaos, it's worth remembering what Prime Minister Anthony Albanese and his now Education Minister James Macpherson said in the lead-up to the last election about the importance of education.
Make sure that kids get a better education.
Education remains the most powerful weapon we have against disadvantage. Labor sees education as about creating opportunity. Labor will always be better on health, education and the NDIS. Labor will always do more about education. Better on education. But better education.
Labor are going to be better on education, Caleb. So how's it going?
Well, not to labour the point, but not too well, it would seem. Down in South Australia, the modern history exam, about 10% of students couldn't even complete the bloody thing because there was a technical glitch. There was a video in the exam. They were doing it on computers these days. I railed against it. They should still be doing paper exams, but it's all electronic now. A video that was integral to answering the next question in the exam couldn't be played. So all of these students have been told, oh, well, very sorry, you didn't get to complete the exam. We're going to give you a derived mark. Now, a derived mark is when they basically acknowledge that they couldn't complete the exam, therefore there is no result from the exam, so they go back and come up with a mark based on all the work you did at school during the year. Imagine being one of these students. You've been cramming for the exam, you've been looking forward to getting it out of the way, you've been pulling all-nighters, you've been drinking about 17 Red Bulls a day to get it all in, and you rock up for the exam and you can't even do it. Now, look, you know, I shouldn't rag on the South Australian system too much. I am a product of a South Australian public school, and I think I turned out all right. But what hope have these kids got if they rock up for the exam and they can't even do that?
Honestly, I can't rag on too much about this because it was just a technical glitch. It only affected 112 students.
No.
I'm more concerned about the state of education in this country. If you're graduating in 2023, I hate to break it to you, but your education's basically worthless anyway. The least we can hope for is that you're able to read and write properly, but we know, because the stats tell us, that you probably can't. So we're not even going to be taught your lefty-leaning views that you've been waterboarded with over the last 12 years in an articulate way. This is just a technical glitch. I don't think you can hang it on the government either.
OK, but how about Victoria? I mean, down in Victoria, students were given the wrong exam papers. Again, these are the people being trusted to teach the next generation, and they can't even hand out the right exam.
Again, that was one person in an exam room handing out the wrong exam paper.
In two different schools.
And I'm sure they were happy about it as well because they actually got the easier Chinese test, not the harder one. They should have formed a coalition and just been like, nobody mentioned what happened. We're getting straight A's.
Is they got given the wrong exam paper, right? They got given an easier exam paper than they were supposed to have. So it throws out results for all students across the state.
Oh, they'll have to resit
it. But then they're not going to resit it. And what they did was these students who did the wrong exam have all had to sign confidentiality agreements so that they will not pass on exam questions to students who are meant to sit this exam next Wednesday. But what do you reckon has happened? Exam questions have already leaked online. So I don't know how they're going to fix this problem.
This happens in uni all the time, especially in the Juris Doctor at UCID. But, you know, because everyone's helping each other out, right? So if someone gets to sit it early for any, like, oh, they're sick or they're going to be away, or, I mean, it just seems to happen every single semester, no matter how hard the unis try, no matter how hard the schools try. Students are all like, help a brother out.
Well, yeah, but this was literally handing out the wrong exam a week early.
I know, it's obscene. Like, seriously, if this is the way they conduct themselves, these people couldn't organise a route in a brothel. It is absolutely outrageous because it does matter because, of course, when you take the exams, that then goes into the pool that determines the ATAR, because the ATAR is based on where you sit amongst all the other students in terms of your results in the exams and everyone else's results in the exams. And that ATAR determines what courses you can and can't take at university. So even if it feels like a drop in the ocean, every bit of data that helps move that is potentially a student who's been dudded. And I think
most of those students, though, would be relieved to get a grade based on their former papers, because everyone knows in exams you're not at your best. I mean, I love it because I just thrive under pressure. But most people absolutely hate it and dread it. Their brain freezes, and because of the time constraints, they're not going to do as well as they would in a normal essay or normal paper. So given that grade for those 112 students affected is going to be based on the papers that they've done in that subject all year, I reckon most of them would be chuffed with that.
I can't believe you're one of these sick people who actually likes exams, though. Like, come on.
Oh, I just love it. But I date back to the days where your hand would start cramping but all this nonsense. I'm with you. They should stick to the papers.
Pen and paper.
You get handed a paper, you sit there. Nobody gets to have any gizmos, gadgets, no Apple Watches, nothing. Because if you have access to a computer, I'm sorry, it's just not the same. We're not comparing apples with apples. But again, this is part of how technology has made people dumber, not smarter whatsoever. Right.